When you hear bipolar disorder, your mind probably jumps straight to mood swings, right? The intense highs of mania and the crushing lows of depression. But what if I told you one of its most debilitating symptoms isn't in the mind at all? It's in the body. We're talking about physical pain, a hidden and constant companion for so many people. And today, we're going to uncover just how deep that connection really goes. So, what is this hidden symptom we're talking about? Well, while the mood episodes get all the attention, a truly staggering number of people are also living with constant physical pain. It's a huge part of the picture that too often gets ignored. So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll explore the connection itself. Then, we're going to get into the numbers. And trust me, they're startling. We'll look at what this pain actually feels like, try to uncover its triggers, and finally, talk about what this all means for getting people better care. All right, let's dive in. Section 1, a hidden connection. We're moving beyond the mind here. Now, you might already know that the link between regular depression, what doctors call unipolar depression, and pain is pretty well known. But for some reason, its connection to bipolar disorder has been this huge, under-researched blind spot. And that leads us to a really crucial point. Physical comorbidity, that's just a technical way of saying having other physical health issues at the same time, is a frequent and really serious problem for people with bipolar disorder. But as the research shows, it often just goes unaddressed. It's like clinicians are so focused on the mood, they miss the pain, leaving people to just suffer in silence. So just how big of a deal is this really? Well, this is where we get into the numbers. And these aren't just from some small study. They're drawn from a massive meta-analysis that looked at over 12 million people. So yeah, this gives us a pretty clear picture of the scale of the problem. Okay, first number up. Get this. Nearly 29% of people with bipolar disorder experience what's called clinically relevant pain. That means pain that's serious enough to need medical attention. We're talking about almost 1 out of every 3 people. Now, to really put that in perspective, have a look at this. An individual with bipolar disorder is more than twice as likely, 2.14 times to be exact, to experience significant pain compared to someone in the general population. That's a massive difference. This isn't just some minor thing. It's a core part of the experience for so many. And we can even drill down a little further. Let's talk about chronic pain. The kind that sticks around long term. Almost 24% of people with bipolar disorder are affected. Just stop and think about that for a second. Nearly 1 in 4 people are juggling the immense challenges of bipolar disorder and the relentless burden of constant physical pain. And if you think that's wild, look at migraines. The risk for someone with bipolar disorder is over 3 times higher. A connection that strong really points to some kind of powerful shared biology, right? It suggests there might be something similar going on in the brain chemistry for both conditions, maybe with neurotransmitters like serotonin. Okay, so those are the big, shocking numbers. But numbers are one thing. What does this pain actually feel like for the people who are living with it every single day? Well, one study gives us a really clear window into that lived experience. And the findings are just wow. On a scale from 0 to 100, the average pain intensity was almost 68. That is squarely in the moderate to severe range. And the amount it interfered with daily life rated just as high. And get this, the median duration was 23 months. We're not talking about a fleeting ache here. This is persistent, it's widespread, affecting over 3 different parts of the body on average, and it just doesn't quit. And hey, don't just take my word for it. The researchers who did the study summed it up perfectly. They said the pain is of moderate to severe intensity and prolonged duration, significantly limiting the patient's everyday activities. So it's not just a symptom, it's literally a disabling condition that runs right alongside the mood disorder itself. So we get how severe it is, but that just leads to the next big question. Why? What's triggering this? Let's take a look at the factors that the research has found are most closely tied to this increased risk of pain. Okay, so the research points to 3 main things. First, older age. Pretty straightforward. The odds of having pain just go up as you get older. Second, sleep disorders. This is a huge one. And third, and this one is really interesting, a delayed diagnosis. Specifically, people who were first misdiagnosed with something like major depression before getting the correct bipolar diagnosis were much more likely to also have pain. All right, that brings us to our final and maybe most important section, a call for better care. Because knowing all this is one thing, but actually treating it, that's a whole other challenge. It's what you might call a treatment tightrope.
And this is where things get really tricky. On one side, you have your common painkillers. But for someone with bipolar disorder, these can be incredibly dangerous. Antidepressants, which are often used for chronic pain, can actually trigger a switch into mania. Even common stuff like ibuprofen can dangerously raise the levels of lithium, a key mood stabilizer. And opioids, well, they come with their own huge risks of mood changes and mania. It's a therapeutic minefield.
And the stakes here, well, they couldn't be higher. The research is crystal clear. When you combine chronic pain with a mental disorder like bipolar, the risk of suicide goes up. When that physical and mental anguish pile on top of each other, the danger is compounded. It makes getting the right kind of care literally a matter of life and death. So let's pull all this together. What are the key takeaways here? First, pain isn't a side note. It's a major and often severe part of bipolar disorder. Second, it's more than twice as common as in the general population, and it can seriously get in the way of a person's ability to live their life. Third, treating it is incredibly complex. And all of this points to one unavoidable conclusion. Doctors have to make asking about pain a routine part of managing bipolar disorder. Which leaves us with one final, huge question to think about. We've just seen how deeply intertwined the mind and body are in this condition. So the question for all of us, for patients, for doctors, for society, is how do we start treating the whole person, instead of just treating the mind or the body like they're two separate things?